Hello everyone, Tina here. Welcome to my Countdown to Christmas series. Today we're going to create with card number 25. We're going to be using some new items from Simon Says Stamp. This is the Tall Pines embossing folder. And then we're also going to be using the stamp set. It's called Night Before Christmas. It's a large red rubber stamp that's a 6x8. The neat thing about this stamp is you have that starry background, but this centerpiece comes out, so you can use it on its own or you can put it back. And then also the little village on the very bottom can come out. So you could use these on multiple sizes of cards. I was going to create a standard A2 size card, but this little sleigh is a little bit too long. So it's the perfect size for a mini slimline. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to go ahead and do something a little bit different. I love kind of like the floating look, and I haven't did one in a while. So we're going to take a piece of acetate that measures 3 inches by 6 inches. And we're going to stamp with some StazOn ink. Now, an alternative to this would be using heat-resistant acetate and then heat embossing with black embossing powder. If you don't have StazOn ink. StazOn ink is very sticky ink, but it does stay put on acetate. So I'm just lining up my Santa and the reindeer, centering it on this panel. It was a perfect size for a mini slimline. And again, my acetate size is 3 inches by 6 inches. We're going to remove the cap off of our StazOn ink. It's jet black, and we're going to go over our red rubber image and ink it up really good. I might have to stamp it a couple of times to get a dark impression. And lift this up, and you can see it's not quite a solid image, and my acetate shifted a little bit, so I'm going to attempt to stamp it one more time and we'll just see how this goes. We can just line it up. That's the best thing about it being clear, is you can line it up. I'll ink it up one more time with that ink, and we're going to just get a darker impression. I did it actually 3 times, and I'm happy with the result. This last time it stuck to the top. Usually when I have panels like this, I'll use my tape runner on the reverse side, but you don't want to do that with this because you don't want, of course, your tape to be seen. We're going to set that aside, let it air dry for a little bit, and now we're going to work on our background. I have another panel. It's the same size, 3 inches by 6 inches, of blue cardstock. It's kind of a pale blue. I'm going to bring in my craft mat, and we're going to do a little ink blending, creating a night sky. We're going to use 2 different shades of Distress Oxide inks. We're going to start off with the Prize Ribbon Distress Oxide ink and just go around the edges. We're going to leave basically like an oval shape in the middle of this panel. It works out good because you can use your fingers to hold down your cardstock, but it also creates a really nice glowing effect for a night scene. Once I have Prize Ribbon down, we're going to go around the edges with black soot, and this is really just going to stand out and create a real pretty night background. Just going to ink up all these edges, making sure that some of that Prize Ribbon shows through. I think we have a little bit too much of the blue area showing, so I want to bring back the Prize Ribbon and pull it towards the center a little bit more. This way we can bring the black in a little bit more towards the center. When I do this, I'm actually pulling that black in and getting black ink on my blue ink blending tool, but it's working out great. And I did have a little bit of a smudge, but I think one of the reindeers will cover that. Now, what I'm spraying here is Avery Elle's Shimmer Spray. This is going to cause like some real pretty silver, snowy effect in the background. I just daubed the excess off, and then I have some white acrylic paint. I just watered it down with some with my Ranger spray bottle, and then we did some ink splattering, white ink splattering, as if it was snowfall in the background. The thing about acrylic ink though is it takes a long time to dry, but I'm going to speed up that process by just using my heat gun. I love the way this looks for wintry, snowy night skies. And I made sure it's really completely dry, guys, because we're going to bring in our embossing folder. You don't want to ruin your embossing folder. The embossing folder that I'm using, again, is called Tall Pines. It's new. It's part of the Simon Says Stamp Handmade Holiday release. And I'm putting it all the way to the left because the trees are taller in that area. And then I ran that through my die cutting machine. And I love the way this turned out. So we have the night background with those trees, the impression of the trees. It just looks really pretty. And had I stamped my reindeer on, well, there's no way I could stamp my reindeer on here because of the embossed detail. So adding a floating sheet on the top is just going to be perfect. I'm going to add adhesive behind my panel, put that on my card base. And again, my card bases are 3 1/4 inches by 6 1/4. There's that smudge. We're going to see if we can cover it. And I think that one reindeer is going to cover it beautifully. I'm going to flip over my acetate sheet, and then we are going to bring in some black foam tape. This is actually a foam tape roll from Thermoweb. It's pretty inexpensive. I have a black roll and then a white roll. I'm waiting for my 3M to finish up before I break out my white roll. But it was so inexpensive that I ended up getting the black roll too. I'll list it down below. But I'm putting little pieces behind each of the reindeer and also the sleigh. Now, if you were to really look at it with the finished product, you'll be able to see the foam adhesive behind it. But if you glance at it and look at it, it's not going to be that noticeable, guys. I just removed the release paper and added my acetate over my panel. Of course, it's the same size, and it really does look like it's floating. It's so pretty. I'm not going to add a sentiment to this card, but I am going to add some bells because I think Santa's reindeers need some bells. So I have 3 silver bells and then some black and white baker's twine. We're going to go ahead and add baker's twine along the left side of our card opening. Just tied a knot at the top, added my 3 bells, and then tied another knot and then tied a bow. I'm going to leave the tails of my twine long. Since it's a mini slimline, I think the longer the tails the better. Now for finishing touches, I'm just going to add 3 little dots to the front of each of these little reindeers with my silver stickles. It's going to add a little added sparkle. And onto Santa's sleigh too, we can add a couple silver dots. And then last but not least, we're going to add 1 red dot to the very front reindeer, which we're going to call Rudolph, with my red stickles. And then that finishes off card number 25 of my Countdown to Christmas series. If you guys haven't had a chance to check out the Simon release, I'll list the whole entire release down below. It's pretty fabulous. And then these are the few products from the release, and I hope you enjoyed my project. Have a great day. We will see you again soon. Bye-bye.